So, 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 so saith the wise Alondo. Do, 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 do.
Welcome to Mages and Murderdads, the still probably only podcast about Baldur's Gate and the Baldur's Gate series. I'm playing the Baldur's Gate games all in sequence. I'm Cameron.
I'm Danny.
And we're doing it still. We're still going.
We're still going.
We're still making our way through, making our way downtown. And so, yeah. I don't even know what to say here at the beginning. I'm surprised we've made it so far.
No, seriously, and welcome back.
And welcome back.
A genuine welcome back to our listeners.
Mm-hmm. Speak friend and enter. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Speak friend and enter.
Oh, yes.
All right, Danny. So, actually, I got a comment on the first episode. This might be worth saying here at the top. So, on your screen right now, you're watching this on YouTube because that is the only platform we put this on. And what you're seeing is some footage that I've recorded that is kind of related to whatever we're talking about.
Cool.
That's all that's there. Yeah, it's not really a one-to-one representation. There was a little bit of confusion about that last week. And I'm going to put that in the intro from now on.
Mm-hmm.
Some version of that. But let's get into the content proper, Danny. Let's talk about General Question Hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like we're kind of organically growing the format of this podcast, and it seems like at the beginning we kind of talk about something a little abstract. Maybe we don't do a play-by-play at the beginning. Maybe we ask a general question. So what's your general question for this podcast?
It's going to be, when I was playing this week, and we both tend to play this right before we record, or at least earlier in the day before.
Keeps it fresh.
And we're recording late at night now, which we normally would not do.
We normally wouldn't, so let's hope that works out.
And so I was thinking, wow, I play this game differently than I did to begin with when I was a wee little one when this game came out. So this game came out in, I want to say 1998, I believe, which means I probably would have played it in like 2002, I would think. And I played it a lot differently. So did you play this game differently when you played it for the first time?
When I played it for the first time, so like many games that I played when I was as young as I played this, so I guess I would have probably played it in 99 to 2001, somewhere in that range. And kind of like a panoply of games that I started, I'm sure I never finished. I'm pretty sure the first time I played this game, I played it probably till I was about a quarter of the way. And then I ran into some problem, or I got too frustrated with a boss fight or something, and then it just kind of like, well, that game is over. Like, oh, okay, well, I'm unable, I'm not diligent enough to play the game, so I think that my number one answer to that question is I lacked the diligence that I have now, like the discipline in order to play this kind of game, which this kind of game does require a certain baseline level of discipline.
Just massive amounts of discipline. Well, so the reason that I was thinking about this is that about halfway through my play session today, I was just like, why did I choose to play as a sorcerer? This is awful.
Okay.
Like, I've leveled up twice now and gotten no new spells.
Can you
just
cast
rocking.
like more of the same spells?
Oh yeah, I finally got one additional spell per day. So I'm still rocking like being able to cast Charm Person and like Chromatic Orb or something. It's a real bummer. But then I was thinking, this is exactly what I would have done when I played the game for the first time. Like, I would have been like, oh, this is really cool. Sorcerers are dope, just like I did this time. And then suffered through it. And so, you were talking about kind of falling off because of a lack of discipline. I think I fell off of this game a lot of times because I just made bad choices.
So really, in terms of the answer to your general question of how do you play it now versus then, For you, the answer is no. You're playing it the exact same way.
Yeah.
You're still making bad decisions. Maybe you have more discipline to power through your bad decision now.
Yeah.
Let's hope.
Well, yeah, you better hope I do. You really better hope. But yeah, probably something like that. Or at least I'm better at legitimating those decisions to myself. Mm-hmm. But trauma is just experiencing the same thing over and over again. So
Is that what they say?
I think so. It's what Freud said. Mm-hmm. So would you? I don't think you're power gaming your way through it now, but you've certainly created a profoundly powerful character.
I think it's fair to say that I'm power gaming in a certain way. I still enjoy the story, and I still act as if I'm in the story. So I'm not metagaming, but Balthazar, the individual, like in character, he is about growing more powerful. So, like, as a byproduct of that, it looks very close to power gaming.
Mm-hmm. When he was but a wee babe, he re-rolled his stats in the womb over and over again.
Yeah,
to achieve it's kind of like a Scientology kind of thing.
Yeah, or maybe a quantum thing. Like there were a million Balthazars, and this is just that one that was genetically perfect. I guess.
It's pure will to power. He willed himself into existence.
It's like the ontological argument for God, but with Balthazar instead, a being which no greater can be conceived.
Yeah, he can't make a sandwich that he could not eat because he's so powerful.
Yeah.
If you hear what sounds like horrifying gunshots off in the distance, I can see it showing up on my recording a little bit. It's because this is 4th of July weekend.
Oh.
Yeah.
And it's
just letting the listeners know.
Okay.
But would you have played that way as a kid? Like, did you re-roll stats for hours? Not as a kid, I guess.
Not as a kid. It's just
as
like
a teen, tween, and in between.
I think that I re-rolled a little bit. I think I didn't have a grasp on the mechanics of the game as much, so I probably ended up spending more time like reallocating points than re-rolling them. Mm-hmm. And also, I think as a kid, I was more interested in, I'm going to make the most niche character possible. It's going to be a mage that dual classes as a human into something else, and it's only going to be like enchantment spells. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dang.
So, also bad decisions, but just very complicated bad decisions. Whereas it
so if you could have been like a craftsman, if there was some way to play Baldur's Gate as as someone who makes rocking chairs, that's what you would have done.
Yeah, it's
like artisanal violins.
Whereas your bad decisions are just bad. Like it sounds like the sorcerer is just like an objectively worse version of what a wizard could be.
Yeah, if only I could go back and just be a wizard. I have no idea what I was thinking. Like I'm like opening chests and stuff that are like full of spells, and I'm thinking, oh heck yeah, new spells.
No.
And I'm thinking, oh no, new spells, like for no one to use because I have no other mages in my party.
Damn.
Yeah, it's a real bummer. But yeah, okay. Well, we organically went through that first segment of our show really well. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about what we did. I think maybe there's a little bit less play. This is probably a shorter play session. At least for me, it felt like I did fewer things during this time than in the last episode. Do you feel the same way?
I think that so last episode, the only reason last episode was longer is that we kind of artificially decided, okay, we're going to do Cameron and I sat down and we said, let's do 5 quests on this. We're going to do this will be kind of the side quest episode. And side quests can be a little time consuming. You're going back and forth, and completing them can take a little bit of time. That last episode could have been a fourth of the time spent if we just said, okay, well, let's just go to Nashkel, which is in a larger point. And I don't know if it's appropriate to say this. I think that the game kind of is engineered so that you could just kind of go to Nashkel. You could skip all of those side quests, and you'd probably be okay if you just railroaded yourself to Nashkel and pushed your way through that content. So
yeah,
I don't know if you felt this way. I felt a little, maybe a half a level or a level over leveled for the content in Nashkel.
Yeah. I'll talk about that when I talk about kobolds later. But yeah, I certainly was like knee deep in kobold corpses.
Sure.
and even my sorcerer was able to like club them in the head and stuff. So, but yeah, so if you're playing along in the game, in this episode we went from Baragos to Nashkel. It's kind of two outdoor areas. If you go directly, it's two outdoor areas: Nashkel itself, and then the Nashkel mines. There's also the Nashkel Carnival. I did not go there, though. Did you go to the Carnival?
Neither did I.
Okay, so we'll talk about the Carnival next episode, because there's actually quite a bit of stuff there, I think.
Oh, wow.
I think it's a little quest hub, almost, for several things. So, first thing I want to talk about in our journey to Nashkel is Bub Snicked.
Damn.
So the first map south of Baragost, I did my thing where I uncovered the whole map. And there's this guy called Bub Snicked, and he's just Wolverine. From the X-Men.
How?
Well, his name is Bub Snicked. Snicked is the noise that Wolverine's claws make when they come out. Bub is what he calls everybody.
Ah.
And he just repeatedly talked about like how he could smell ogres. He's like, there's ogres around. And then he's like, gonna call you Bub, and then he doesn't call you Bub. He calls you like Chuck or something. Yeah. So anyway, so I see this dude. He tells me I smell ogres. And then there are Ogrillions? Is that what they're called?
I guess.
Ogrelons?
Ogrelons, maybe. They're basically demi-ogres, from what I understand. They're not half-ogres. That is a separate
the
phenomenon.
classic demi-ogre.
I think
This is the most D&D-ass thing in the world, a demi-ogre. But you are right, yeah, they're not half-ogres.
Yeah, that's a separate category altogether. Yeah, they're pseudo-ogres.
Oh, yes, of course, the pseudo-ogre. Like the pseudo-dragon.
Yeah. So
also a real thing.
Are these the Ogrillions that you failed to kill for good old Swedish name up in Baragost? Or
No,
are these a different group?
I never went back to try to do that. I'm going to do that on my way back up. Back up the Sword Coast. But no, so these are just like in the middle of the road. I imagine if you went south to Nashkel and you just walked down the road, you would have seen them too.
Yeah.
There's just like two of them with a dead dude there, like a dead halfling.
Okay.
And they had a letter on them, and it said, hey, I'm coming back up from It's like from a man to his wife, I think. And he's like, hey, I'm coming back. I'm not going to come by land, though. It seems real dangerous. I'm going to go by sea. I'll see you in a bit. I'm going to send this halfling with this letter. He seems pretty trustworthy. And the halfling is dead right south of Baragost. So, and you were saying, we were talking a little bit before the episode, but you were saying that this is part of a quest, probably.
It is, yeah. There is you've done one half of it, and I've done the other half, it sounds like. Like, I have the actual prompt for the quest. And the prompt for the quest is in the very far east of Baragost. There's a house, and you can get into it from the side. And there's a lot of houses in Baragost. You don't actually even see the doors. You just have to hover your mouse over an area, and you can go into that house. I can't remember.
Kagan's house is like that.
Exactly. So I can't remember if it was one of those, but it was kind of an obscure little house, and there was a woman in the house kind of lamenting how she hasn't heard from her husband, and she knew that he was traveling with a halfling, something like that. So it definitely sounds like the other half of this quest.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll have to go back up and do it. I did not travel back north again. Is there anything that you saw that was cool in the countryside between point A and point B?
So I think this is kind of the reason why maybe this episode will be a little shorter and the other one a little longer. When I was doing my side quest exploration, like, if you listened to last episode, we talked about Dritz and other folks. I kind of explored most of the way direct to Nashkel, right? So like a lot of that area that I covered was already done from last episode. So yeah, I poked around a little bit, but not too much else. It was pretty much a straight shot to Nashkel for me. Yeah.
Well, I have all kinds of stuff. So while I was running around this area, I found a hole in like a little cave, and inside of that cave was a crate, and it had some gold, and it had a spell, and there were a bunch of rats and bats in the cave.
Oh yeah, it was
there's
one
nothing else in
room,
there.
right? It was
Yeah.
just one circular, maybe oval room with an entrance on one side and this thing's in the middle.
Yeah, 100%. That's it. That's the whole thing there. And as soon as I did it, I was like, this is so profoundly Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Right? It's just like, here's a thing. There's some treasure there. I've rewarded you for searching out a hole in the ground in the woods. Mm-hmm. Congratulations.
Mm-hmm. And that works half the time, right? Sometimes you're rewarding the players for discovering the hole. And the other half of the time, there's just a bunch of half-ogres down there, and they surround you immediately and then murder you.
Yeah,
and
I quick-saved right before going in there.
Yeah.
Like 100%.
Yeah. That is the privilege of playing on a computer versus having a dungeon master actually curate you an experience where half-ogres murder you.
I guess you could just say quick save. Like, let's quick save right here. It's going back if it's full of half-ogres, ogrellians, and full ogres.
Yeah.
So Nashkel.
Yeah,
that's
Nashkel.
where I said I had a lot of stuff to talk about in between. I don't. That's really there's a whole.
That's really. Rocks. By the way, before we move to Nashkel, did you ever see in one of these areas? And I can't remember because there's probably 4 areas you could travel between Baragast and Nashkel, right? And in the
I think so.
And in the southern edge of one of those areas, there's some water features and kind of and some rocky outcroppings, and you can kind of if you approach from the east going west, you can get into the bottom of this area, and there looks like there should be a cave, but you can't go into it. Did you ever see that?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Well, it makes me wonder if it's going to be like an added feature or if it was something that just didn't make the game, but anyway.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, no, I didn't. I did see a submerged house. There's like some water and there's a roof there, but there's no like quest or anything involved with it.
Yeah, I think
and
I
you
may
can get
have
like a
seen
tooltip and it's like, this house has been submerged in a while for a long time.
Do you think it's a quest later, or do you think it's just one of those half-finished things like Kagan's quest?
Yeah, I have no idea. I have a really great update on Kagan's quest, by the way.
Excellent.
Real kick in the teeth. So that's our bonus for sticking around for the end of the episode. You'll get to hear what the hell happens. You'll also get to hear about, quote-unquote, Danny's big problem, which is all that's written in the show notes, and that's going to be at the end of
there's
this
also
too,
a parenthetical expression, this might take a while to explain.
Yeah.
parentheses.
Which is a real bonus, so stick around for the end of us talking about proceeding through several layers of mines in a classic D&D fashion in order to find out about Danny's big problem. But so, Nashkel, we get there, full of the Flaming Fist. We've talked a little bit about the Flaming Fist before, but they're kind of like mercenaries that kind of are trying to get rid of bandits in the area. They're trying to solve the problems of the Sword Coast.
But
I guess
also,
they're a
there's
mercenary
definitely
unit?
like there's a fascist tinge to them, and they're also very suspicious of spellcasters. We had the Nira thing, right?
That was Thayan wizards.
Oh, that's right. Okay,
The Red Wizards of Thay.
So the only other interaction I remember with the Flaming Fist is, I think at one point in the game, they just talk to you while you're out in the wilderness. There's a patrol, and they're like, hey, are you guys bandits? We're killing bandits. And you can just, like, say, no, we're not. And then they walk on. Like, very much unlike the way the rest of this game works, where it railroads you into one conclusion. They just kind of like, oh, okay. And then they walk away.
Well, or they would say, okay, and you would never see them again. They would never appear remotely in this game again. But so it's full of the Flaming Fist. They've got a garrison there. I'm not quite sure if the Flaming Fist are the Amish, not Amish, I guess, Omnian, A-M-N. No, it is Amish, right? Omnish?
I think you'd have to put Omnish. You'd have to...
Omnish.
Yeah.
Are they the Omnish army?
I think it's kind of the Om's irregular
harder,
military force. Yeah, it is.
Okay. I guess that makes sense, but they don't show up. They don't show up in Baldur's Gate 2, which is interesting, I guess. But
yeah.
Anyway, that's some good, nice crosstalk here.
Yeah.
In the middle of the episode. But anyway, so get to Nashkel. It's full of that, and the first thing I see when I get there is Rasad, the NPC. Did you see Rasad?
Rasad, I did, and is Rasad new?
Yeah. Rasad is a brand new, as far as I can tell, a brand new NPC from the Enhanced Edition.
Yeah, so I remember I approached this NPC, and he was kind of doing a little bit of evangelizing almost, right? He was talking some religion, and it seems like, from the beginning of the conversation, I'm thinking, is this guy a Cirque du Soleil performer? He's talking about performing feats of agility, what have you, and then it kind of all comes together. Okay, this must be a monk. Like, A, he's talking about like balance, dexterity, etc. B, he's being a little, evangelizing a little bit. And C, he has like he's voiced over, and there's this like Asian tint to his voice, like kind of like this Pan-Asian dialect,
or like mystical,
like
or it's unclear. The Orientalism makes it very unclear.
Yeah. So there's kind of those confluence make me think, okay, this person is a monk, and we're kind of having a little conversation. He's a monk of Saloon, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And Saloon,
which I don't really know what Saloon is all about.
Saloon in the Forgotten Realms. This is bringing me a little bit of meta knowledge here. I don't know if, but Saloon is kind of an elven deity that is about the stars and kind of shining light on darkness. She also in the Forgotten Realms has some stuff like the arts in her kind of domain, those kind of things, and her mortal enemy is Shar, which is the kind of midnight new moon, complete darkness. So it's kind of like a light versus dark thing going on.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, this kind of drunk interrupts Rasad, and you have the opportunity to kind of like egg Rasad on while this drunk is kind of interrupting him, or you can kind of be like, oh, well, it's cool that you're so patient and tranquil, even while this guy's interrupting you. So that's
what did you say?
I kind of
did you say beat that dude's ass, Rasad?
I did
Get
not.
him.
I did
Get
not.
him.
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't. I think he kind of he won me over with his nice guy routine at the beginning, so I didn't want to needless. Also, I have a goal at this point in the game of saying I want an all melee party, so I'm like, I think I want this monk.
Oh,
Yeah.
So do you have that monk?
I do.
Is this part of Danny's big problem?
There is a Danny's big problem element to this monk. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about it later then.
Yeah.
So other stuff that happened right there at the top of Nashkel. There's yet another assassin. We've talked multiple times.
Each one stronger than the last.
Yeah, each one kills me 5 times more than the No, not really. I think this one. I think I got her all in one go. Partially because I think my party's a little over leveled for Nashkel. But so Nira, she comes up and she starts wailing on my party. And I was like, hell no, you're not. I think I charmed her first and then beat her up, so even worse. It didn't feel like a fair fight. So yeah, it was kind of a bummer. But she has a enchanted helm.
Yeah,
lets you see in the dark if you wear it, so that was pretty cool. And then I had a dream. I imagine you just turned her into like little chunky bits.
Yeah, more or less. And it's all Balthazar too, like because of his move speed bonus. As a barbarian, so like he's there and already killed by the time the party clears the doorway.
So when we inevitably do Icewind Dale, are you just going to make 6 barbarians and have them storm upon everybody?
Well, I guess we just use the party, right? Oh, but you can only import your main character. Is that accurate?
I looked into it. I think you actually can't import. I think I was wrong
for
that last one. Yeah.
Okay.
But it would have the same class stuff as Baldur's Gate 2, so you could just make your same dude again.
Okay.
Anyway,
interesting, yeah.
Worth thinking about. But yeah, and then, so I went to sleep at whatever the Nashkel Inn is, or whatever it's called, and I had a weird dream that was, like, about Gorion, and he was like, you're not like them. You're not like those Maddos. And then, like, Candlekeep turned into like a shifting brick fortress.
Yeah.
I was like kind of half paying attention, I'll be honest, but it was story important, I think.
Well, I think kind of the gist of it is Gorion, you are haunted by the disappearance of Gorion. Also, I remember a lot more about it. I remember you seeing his death over and over again. Mm-hmm. Like, you were visualizing his death over and over again. And the last line of it is, as you fall into sleep, you just keep repeatedly seeing Gorion get struck down over and over by this figure. And the last lines is, you get used to it eventually.
Dang.
Yeah.
Dang. I want to get used to it. That's bad.
Oh, man.
That's very bad. But then, when I woke up, I had a new ability. Did you get a new ability?
I did get a new ability.
What was your new ability?
I got a Minor Drain.
Whoa, you got Minor Drain?
Yeah, it's a 10-point life link, basically.
I got Cure Light Wounds.
So, you know what I think... My assumption is, I still have negative reputation from killing that guard in the first 15 minutes of the game.
When you killed him in the Friendly Arm Inn.
No, when I killed the guard in Candlekeep.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
Literally, I go into the inn, buy a sword, and then I have this deadly altercation. So that bumped me down like 5 points, and I haven't made it up yet.
So you're just running around being evil.
No, I'm not. That's kind of the only evil thing I've done.
Well, it's like that's a big evil thing. That's not a minor evil thing, killing a guard at your hometown where there's 11 people that live there.
It felt right at the time, and I've been doing what feels right the rest of the game, and I've been a good person the rest of the game. So I don't know. Maybe morality's more complicated than this alignment system.
I don't know. Than the reputation system. I actually have my own reputation system story, so
okay.
We'll pocket that. But okay, so you think the reputation has given you the drain ability?
I think that if you have negative reputation, you end up getting drain, and if you don't, you probably end up getting the Cure Light Wounds.
Dang, I'd rather have the drain.
Well, the cure, you can't use the drain in downtime, right? Like that doesn't help your downtime. Like, because right now when you hit rest.
Yeah, you cast your spells.
You can check that box in options where you cast all your healing spells, so it like significantly speeds up how long that takes. Once again, foreshadowing Danny's big problem.
Oh no, this is gonna be Danny's big problem. Oh, I'm so excited. I have such a good inkling of what Danny's big problem is now.
Yeah, and the thing is, Kunzelman does not know what Danny's big problem is. It is a mystery. So you will find out, listener, at the same time he does.
Mm-hmm. Viewer will too. Everybody will. Yeah, it's gonna be great. Okay, so other stuff in Nashkel, I got to meet Baron Gastkill. That's the mayor. Who's basically like, yeah, you can go to the mines. People are dying in the mines. There's not a lot of ore coming out. If you remember from, I think we talked about it last episode, the big problem in the region is that the ore there's a shortage of iron ore, and what ore does exist is really crappy.
Yeah.
And so that means that things like your weapons break. All the time.
And
time.
It depends on the play session, because I think it's a static 1 to 2% chance on hit, basically. Dang. So you can run, I think I did the whole like first 2 sessions, didn't have a weapon break. This session, it was every fight. It was absurd. I ended up going somewhere and just buying 5 two-handed longswords so I could replace them. But it got to be really annoying.
Yeah, I had the same problem. Eventually I was fighting, and I was like, why am I having such a hard time with this? And I realized that 3 of my characters' weapons had broken. It was a real bummer. But yeah, so I met him, and I think that's one of the first times in this game where we're getting to see some really cool world building through the characters, through the kind of big main NPCs. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the times it's, a character comes up, you say, hey, and they're either like a gimmick character, like Bub Snicked that I talked about before, where it's like, if you get the joke, it's funny, and if you don't get the joke, well, you just kind of wasted a couple minutes. This is a character, like Baron Gaskill shows up, and he's like, hey, you want to help us out? And you can kind of be like a jerk about it. You can ask for more money. You can kind of go a few ways, and he really reacts in a real way to that. He's like, I don't know if I want to deal with a jerky adventurer, but I guess I have to deal with a jerky adventurer. Some of the NPCs in this game just kind of feel like a good DM, right? Like someone who really thinks about what characterizes just an NPC and then kind of follows through with it. Whereas like that's not in every bit of this game. There's a really wide differential in the writing skill on display in this game.
Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe because I must have chosen like the most streamlined conversation option with him, he felt very much like a person. I was in the middle of Nashkel City proper. I was walking. He rolls up to me, like in 3 sentences, tells me the problem. I picked a conversation option, and he's like, "Awesome, cool." And then we just kind of walked off to the mine. It felt very much like, "All right, you need to get to these mines, guys. You've been taking a long enough time. Here's the quest prompt, bam." So
Yeah,
but,
I think you gotta sass him a little bit.
you got to sass him a little bit. So you're good, but you're sassy.
I just I thought the sassy option was funny. I think
okay.
so I went for that. Yeah. So I do that. So then, as soon as I got that quest, I was like, "Heck yeah, here we go. We're going to the Nashkel mines." And as I was leaving the city, I had to encounter Noober.
Oh, probably the worst. One of the most dangerous. I don't know about dangerous, but one of the most annoying characters in this game.
Maybe one of the most annoying characters ever made in a
In
game.
all
period.
games.
In all games. Period. So he's just an NPC. And NPCs in this game kind of can follow the script of like, they pick a character and then they move to that character and they talk to them. Like, that's how 99% of conversations work if you're not initiating that conversation.
Yeah.
In Baldur's Gate. And Noober, what he does is he initiates a conversation that is one line. It's like a goofy statement or a terrible question. Like, "Are you adventurers?" And you can't respond to him. And then it closes out. He waits like 2 seconds and then does the same thing again.
With
and
a
he'll
different
do
line.
it forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a different thing. With a different like
He'll
statement.
do it until you murder him.
So I literally, as soon as that began happening to me, I remembered Noober and I ran away. I ran off the map.
Oh, so he tried to initiate.
No, he did it one time and I was like, or maybe twice. And I was like, "Nuh-uh, not me." And I got the hell out of there.
So yeah, I was unlucky. The first time I came into Nashkel, I encountered Noober before anyone else. So
So you came from like the east side.
Yeah, exactly. I came from the east. And so I see him before even Edwin on the bridge.
Oh, no.
And so I'm thinking, so I can either leave and then come back from a different angle, or I've just got to kill this guy. So I just killed him, and I'm chaotic neutral, That's just...
No one knew?
No one knew.
Did you not take a reputation hit?
I think I was, like, still out because he initiates and there's no guards around.
Not 2 seconds ago you were like, "Well, I'm not playing evil."
Well,
you killed a civilian.
I killed a civilian, I understand. I killed an inside joke in this game. Right.
That you can metagame legitimize it to yourself all day long. I'm just saying. I love that you're talking about Balthazar. His like his desire is to become more powerful in the world, and that more powerful is decreasing annoyance. Like that's part of it.
Well, yeah. It makes his day in Nashkel a lot less efficient, right?
That's true. That's true.
But no, I just rolled in. Noober like talks to me 3 times. I realize he's not going to stop.
Yeah.
And then I kill him, and then I roll over a bridge, and there's a fellow named Edwin there. Wants me to kill a witch. I say no. I don't. Why do you want to kill this person? And he doesn't tell me why. So I'm not having any part of that.
And so you've slayed him in the streets for daring not to reveal his informations to you.
No, he walks away, and then I'm walking through Nashkel later, and he's just kind of sitting there, and then I talk to him, and then he attacks me. He goes red.
Dang, really?
Because I didn't help him. Yeah.
I didn't have that happen.
There's another NPC in this town that goes red if you don't help them.
Who is that?
It's Minsk.
Oh, Minsk does?
Yeah, if you say so, there's a beloved NPC which you should probably introduce Minsk, like the idea of Minsk.
Yeah, so both Minsk and Edwin are 2 different characters. They have a similar. I'm gonna sneeze. Hold on. Maybe it's gonna happen. I'm gonna leave all of this in.
Okay.
I'm leaving every single bit of this in.
You feeling all right?
I feel like I need to sneeze.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not. It's kind of... Wait, hold on. Maybe not. Okay, anyway. So there are two NPCs. So Edwin, that we've already talked to, who is a wizard. Mm-hmm. And he's a red wizard of Thay.
Yeah.
Like, but he's like in the Forgotten Realms fantasy world. They're the baddies. They're like the real bad wizards.
Some real baddos.
And so he wants to kill Danni here, who is a witch. There is Minsk, who is a fighter/ranger.
Fighter ranger, that's right. A fighter ranger who can berserk.
And he also wants to deal with Dinah here, but he wants to rescue her. So Edwin wants you to go to the Knoll Fortress and kill her, and Minsk wants you to go with him to rescue her. And so Minsk has this a little hamster, which is a miniature giant space hamster.
Yeah.
Named Boo. And it's like a little inventory guy.
You can't remove him.
You can't move him, but you can click on him, I think. I think you can use him in a quick slot. And yeah, anyway, so like, Minsk is somewhere between like, had a severe brain injury, talking and always having to talk to his little Boo.
The giant miniature giant space hamster.
Yeah, and just being a cool guy. And both of these characters they do show up in Baldur's Gate 2. I think even if you killed them right here, they would still appear.
Correct. Yeah.
I don't think that at this time, there was not strong controls over that kind of thing. So,
yeah.
Okay, so yeah. So I didn't know that Edwin would attack you, and I guess that Minsk does too?
Yeah, so the first time I met Minsk, I wasn't sure I wanted him to be in my party, so I quick saved, and I talked to him, and I just kind of told him, nah, I would rather not, but it may be a specific conversation option where you say, look, I think you're a little too headstrong, maybe a little bit ruder than that. And he goes crazy, and he attacks you. So, dang. Yeah. But then I reloaded, and I was like, you know what, I decided on my party composition, Muscle Bros. Musclebros.party. That's what the party's going to be. So I've got Kagan in there. Let's throw in Minsk, and we'll get this monk. It'll be a fun time.
Who'd you get rid of to put in Minsk?
Immelwyn.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No time for your adopted sister.
No time. No.
Okay. All right. So you got them.
Yeah.
That's great. I heard 2 quests before I left Nashkel, but I didn't take either of them, or I didn't try to do them. Presumably, I'll do them next one. I heard about Prism, who was like a craftsman who's gone mad, and he's like carving in cliffs and stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't see where that was. And then Captain Brage, or Brage, Brage, who is like the captain of the guard, who basically like raged out and killed a bunch of people and then ran off into the wilderness.
Yeah, some dude flew off the handle, basically. Yeah. We don't know why.
We don't know why. So those will come back up. I wanted to breadcrumb them in this episode of the podcast for next episode. So then I went to the mines, and on my way to the mines, I got waylaid by bandits. Did you get waylaid by bandits? Did this happen to you?
I too got waylaid by bandits, and I think everyone gets waylaid by bandits the first time they try to go to the mines.
Okay.
I'm just gonna guess here.
I'm assuming, but maybe if you didn't talk to this guy,
maybe
before, I don't know. I have no idea. So, yeah. So there are these 2 like bandits, I guess. That doesn't feel like appropriate for them, but 2 bandits and a bunch of
desperados, we'll say.
Sure, and a bunch of little bros. And they're like, "Hey, give us all your money, or we'll kill you." Blah blah blah. And out of the shadows, all their dudes start dying. They're little minion bandits. And Dorn, the like half orc that we talked about way back in episode 1,
the rude guy,
he shows up and he's like, "Hey, I'm murdering y'all. You left me for dead.
Yeah,
and I'm just straight up gonna murder you now. Here I come." And then he does it.
And you know what? He can't fail.
Oh yeah.
He can't fail. So this is a little section, because Dorn is a new character. This little section's all new to the Enhanced Edition. And because it's new in the Enhanced Edition, there's a few things that don't work like the rest of the game, right? So the first is, in the rest of the game, if your party does not strike the killing blow on a monster, you do not get experience, right? So a good example of this is when you go to the Friendly Arm Inn and you're ambushed by that first mage on the steps of the inn, right? And that fight that used to be really difficult, and now it's a little easier. If the guard kills that guy, you don't get any experience. So it's always been worth it to me to like reload to make sure I get that experience, because it's like a big chunk of experience at that point.
Yeah, definitely.
In this section, you could do nothing, and when he kills these two desperados, you get full experience. So that's like the first your first clue. Something's weird. Second clue is Dorn cannot die in this scene. It's not possible for him to die, which is different. Like, for example, Nira. You can play, and when Nira is encountered by the Red Wizards of Thay, they can kill her. Like, they can just like roll well in the first like second or two of that combat, and she will die. Right? Dang. Dorn, however, when he gets to like, he can get low on health, but when he gets low on health, he starts taking damage, and he will literally say, "There's a dialogue thing where he says, 'I cannot fall.'" And
so you really let this play out.
I let it play out, and I even I was wondering, man, this is weird. I attacked him. He did not turn hostile. I was doing damage to him, and he wasn't taking it. So he gets to 20% health, and he'll no longer take damage. It'll say that he's taking damage, but it will not deplete his life total.
Protected NPC.
Yeah, so
he's got DM armor.
He's got story armor, but that's the thing. This is an enhanced edition thing. Old Baldur Gate characters, they don't have story armor. They can just die, and it's a part of the game. So that was an interesting thing. But yeah, he murderfies all these people, and of course you can help him.
Yeah. And at the end, so this really kind of messed me up. So at the end, I was like, he murders those dudes, and he's like, hey, you are, in my case, he was like, Ticklevar. He's like, hey, bro, you want to hang out? You want to, I've got 4 people I need to murder. These are 2 of them. As you can see, I've murdered them. I got more people to murder. You want to go hang out? You want to help me do that? And initially, I was like, sure. And so I said yes, and it brought up the little thing of who to kick out of my party. And then I realized I took a reputation hit
2
for
points.
recruiting him. 2 points. And I was like, A, who says I'm going to murder anybody with this guy? And B, there's nothing really to suggest that he's evil. Straight up an evil person that will damage your reputation for being around him.
Well, I mean, you may not know that, but the rest of the Forgotten Realms knows that if he is in your party, that rubs off on you.
I'm just saying that the game is not very good at signaling how clearly evil this person must be.
Okay, so how'd you react?
I immediately was like, oh, heck no, I'm not. And so I chose him to kick out of the party, and I got my reputation back.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, you don't lose it for good. It's just you are 2 reputation down as long as he's in the party, but you can get your 2 reputation back at any time by kicking him out.
But here's the weird thing. My reputation is at 12, which is right above pure neutral, because I think you start at 10.
Sure.
And so I've gained a little bit of reputation. And I am now getting the barks from everybody that are the little speech things that they say while we're running around. That are hey, Khalid is hey, could you stop being evil, please? So yeah, now they think I'm evil, even if I am numerically not evil.
Well, maybe they're just reacting to the last reputation change you had. Right?
I guess. It's a real bump. Well, the last reputation change would have been +2.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right.
Weird.
Anyway.
So I did all that, kicked that dude out, told him to get the heck out of there, went to the Nashkel mines.
I left him in. He's a muscle bro.
He's in your muscle bro party?
He's in my muscle bro party.
So your party's evil. You're full of evil dudes.
I've got Kagan and him. They're evil. I've got the monk. The monk is
yourself.
Good. And I've got myself, chaotic neutral. I've got Kivan, who's good. I had to kick out Jaheira and Khalid, though. To make room. So, also Jaheira's not really fitting in, not necessarily because she's not a bro, but because she casts spells, and we're just not about that in the Muscle Bros.
Yeah, sure. So I go to the mines, get told about little demons.
Yeah.
Did you learn about little demons?
So basically, you go to the entrance of the mines, and you got to talk to Emerson, who's maybe like the foreman or what have you. He'll actually let you into the mines. And the first level of mines, meet a bunch of emaciated miners who are just like desperate for a union, right? Like,
they need it. They need Eugene Debs to show up. Forgotten Realms, Eugene Debs.
It is time in Forgotten Realms. An injury against one is an injury against us all, but... So they're having a bad time. Their barks are terrible. They're like verbal barks. They're like coughing. I think I'm coughing up blood. It's terrible.
One is just a scream, like an ear-shattering.
Yeah. It's some bad stuff. And on that first level, they're basically just like, yeah, it sucks. Our lives suck. The iron's terrible. And I think in this first level, you can pick up an example of the contaminated iron in some of the mine carts. And so we're getting into some real D&D mine shit. This is some straight up Diablo level. You've got to like hug a right wall to make sure you explore everything, because these things are like, they're just dead ends. They're looping around. It's so you're right at home if you know about, D&D map tropes. And then I think that's more or less all that there is on the first level. There's a fellow who like wants you to take a dagger to one of his compadres down a level, but I don't think I ran into anything else on that first level.
Were you able to take the dagger to the guy?
I did.
I didn't do that. I just never found the guy and never did it.
Yeah, he's in like one room with an Amish guard.
Free dagger.
Free dagger, yeah. So it's got a nice name too, right?
Yeah, so these little demons are kobolds, and they're everywhere. There's 500 of them.
500. I'd say there's one on the first floor, maybe.
Yeah,
and then it starts in earnest on the second floor, on the level 2.
And so there's not really that much in these mines, like you're saying. No. It's just kind of like D&D-ass D&D here.
Yeah.
Encounter to encounter. But there is some brilliant design in the way that it slowly becomes more difficult. So, like, it goes from being like 5 kobolds at a time to like 7 kobolds at a time. And then 7 kobolds, and some of them have flame arrows. And I think that like slow, I was over-leveled for all of it, so it wasn't, I wasn't dying a bunch of times. I think I did die a couple times in the mines, though. Just to my main character being shot, like, on sight by kobolds.
Yeah.
But I do like this linear progression of like, as you get toward the center of this like problem area that's messing up the whole world, there's kobolds with fire arrows, right?
And you can tell seeing these aren't like just kobold commandos.
Yeah, they're the ones, yeah. And you can tell that they're not like, this is more nefarious than just some monsters who are here.
Yeah.
I like that kind of, there's some environmental storytelling going on with that.
And also the kind of slow transition from mine on this, on the second floor, you go down a level, and then you get in this mine, but there's like a magma crevasse, basically.
Yeah.
And there's a bridge over it. And then you get into like, okay, this isn't mines anymore. This is some kind of subterranean lair. Something's going on here.
There's giant spiders in there.
There's giant spiders in there. There's a few acidic blobs if you go all the way around in the kind of the central chamber. But it all kind of leads you to this big circular chamber with basically a stalagmite in the middle, and there's like a room in that stalagmite, and that's kind of where the final confrontation occurs.
Yep. And so when you get in there, there is a character, a dude, named Zan?
Zan, sure.
He's like an elf. And I told that dude to get the hell out of there. Like, you can recruit him. He's an NPC. He's been taken captive by whoever's leading these people. And I was like, hey, get the hell out. I don't want to deal with you.
He's super depressed all the time.
I've got one bad wizard already. One bad spellcaster. I don't need 2. And I'm assuming the Muscle Bros did not let him into their...
No, we just told him, you're too depressing, get out of here.
Dang, Muscle Bros are party bros.
Yeah, it's kind of like, A, you waggle your fingers, you don't swing an axe. B, you're kind of just a bummer.
Yeah, and that might be more important.
Yeah.
So inside this place, there was this dude named Mullahay. The game actually says his name for you in a voiceover, and I've forgotten already.
Mullahay, yeah, something along those lines. But
he's a half-orc.
Yeah.
which I didn't know. I don't know how you would know that.
Well, I mean, a half
Oh.
orc. Yeah, I knew.
Was he your long lost brother?
No, just a jerk. Just a jerk face.
You could have roleplayed that. And yeah, but he's like a cleric, which I think is really cool. I like when like the leaders of stuff are something more complicated than like a fighter,
Sure.
you know, or a wizard, a bad wizard, you know. So I got in a fight with that dude. Tell me about your fight you had with Mullahay.
Mullahay's interesting. There's two interesting things about him, right? The first is when you
One half, the other orc.
Yeah. What's the other half? Tune in on episode 9. We're gonna really stretch it out. But yeah, the first thing is when you actually engage him, he calls for help. He calls for help, and from behind you, because his chamber's basically like a one-way thing, and you're coming inside, and he's at the end of the chamber. You meet in the middle, and you get surrounded because he calls for help, and a bunch of skeletons and kobolds pour in from the entrance you just entered, right?
So I think it's 9 enemies.
Yeah, it's
9
a lot.
additional enemies.
It's a good little amount, and this is interesting because your back line, because you set up your formation as you're rolling around these maps, right? And your back line's generally, you know, maybe for Kunzelman's party, it's probably him and Imoen, right?
I'm in the I have the weird like inverted triangle structure.
Okay.
Yep.
But anyway, it's your back line is generally your weaker people, so they've been flanked, and that's a problem, right? So that's the first interesting thing you've got to navigate with this fight. That's not a problem with the Muscle Bros. The Muscle Bros can't be front flanked, right? They're all front line. It's just a continuous, you know. The Muscle Bros are a flat circle.
If you're a listener to this, please create an infographic about the Muscle Bros and send that to me on Twitter.
And the second thing is when you get him to about 30% health, maybe 25, somewhere around there, he begs for mercy. And because I'm chaotic neutral and I'm not consistent, and I'm not being evil right now, I'm like, okay, well, tell me what you know. And then he immediately says, ha, gotcha. And then he starts attacking me again.
Dang.
I think he may have like called more people too.
Oh, that's even more brutal.
Yeah. So then I don't know. Then we hit him with our big swords, and then he died.
And he died. So I didn't go directly into a fight with him. I talked to him, and he said, "Did Tazok send you?" I think he brings up Tazok.
That's right. Yeah, he asked me that, and I took the second option where like I don't give a damn. You better tell me what you're up to. And then
I was like, yeah, Tazok sent me. I'm gonna murder you and take your job.
Look at you. You're lying.
Well, then he said, because I just wanted to see what, you know, I'm getting some info from him. And I was like, you know, tell me whatever you know or whatever. And he says, go get my letters out of my chest. And when you go touch the chest, then he aggroes you. So you're like all the way in his chamber. It's especially disadvantageous. So, but yeah, it took me a few times. It took me like 2 or 3 times to beat it. I think I killed him every time. And then got killed by all his additional bros the other times, which is a bummer.
Yeah. No, it's that's a neat, given the limitations of the way the scripting works in this game, a really fun way to like put the player at a little bit of a disadvantage in a fight situation where generally they would have an advantage. It's a small room, they can surround the single enemy. It's cool.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's whoever designed that encounter really thought about like what they could do at the time, and it's like just really hard.
Yeah,
like straight up hard. Yeah. Anyway, so I had a good time with that encounter. I really respected it, and I got like a bigger shield, some other stuff like that. Oh, and I also had to beat this encounter with like Kagan with a short sword. Someone had a katana.
I thought,
like, no
shouldn't Kagan be wielding that +2 Warhammer?
I actually don't think it's best for him. I think it's best for for the Ranger, whatever his name is, for some reason.
Kivan.
Just numerically. But yeah, they were having to fight because their weapons had broken. Okay, so, and that's kind of where we ended. Can you flood the mines in Nashkel?
I'm unaware.
Maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, I'll reveal that factoid later. I'll do some research on it. But so now that we're here at the end, tell us about Danny's big problem.
So as I mentioned before, a confluence of factors kind of presented themselves as a perfect storm situation. The first is my reputation was negative or like below neutral, so I got that minor drain, right? The second thing is I kicked out Khalid and Jahir because I wanted to make room for the Muscle Bros, right?
Yeah.
And there's a phenomena in this game where, with the exception of people like Imoen and characters like Khalid and Jahira, all of these little party members have their own agenda. Like they're in your party for a reason, or generally they join with a quest in mind. So, for example, in
your party, that is anabolic steroids.
Yeah, sure, right. But a good example is Kagan, which Kunzelman talked about. Kagan's quest last episode. He wants to he's got to go find this caravan that's been ransacked. Yep. So, funnily enough, in this episode, on the way to Nashkel, Kagan leaves in a huff. He leaves my party in a huff, and then I'm like, okay, well, if I want to keep Kagan, I actually have to go to the area where where the quest trigger is, where he gives up, right?
Yep. So yeah, you know how I talked about that last episode.
Yeah.
So I guess in my eternal having to reload the game,
you forgot to go get that trigger.
Yeah, and so I leave the mines, and as soon as I go back to Nashkel, he's like, I'm done with this crap, and just goes away. So I added Minsk to my party at the very end. That's the last thing I did today. But okay, so
I had that experience, but I was able to fix it, right? I was able to reload, get Kagan satisfied, whatever. So I go to Nashkel. I no longer have anyone with a healing spell. So as we kind of talked about earlier, when you hit rest, if you've lost hit points, you hit rest, you wait a number of hours in order for your hit points to recover to full. If you've got that option checked, which you want to, right?
Yep.
And so I'm resting in Nashkel every few fights, because the Muscle Bros do get hit occasionally, and I want to be ready for whatever the next encounter is. And I notice I'm getting a lot of dialogue. A lot of characters are talking to me.
A lot of crosstalk. And I don't remember I remember when I played it before, there's not a lot of crosstalk. It's like a occasional thing that, when it happens, it's that's interesting, right? Mm-hmm. But I remember twice in a row I would rest, and the monk wanted to talk to me, as a story, advance my quest type thing. Apparently in this game, at least in my experience as well, the new characters kind of get treated like the Baldur's Gate 2 characters do.
Interesting.
Where they each have a dialogue storyline with you.
Yeah, so I know, and that's when I notice every time I'm resting for 16 days. I have because my health totals are so high. Balthazar's health is 52. So every time I'm resting, the game clock is getting advanced half a month. And so what happens is, immediately after I defeat Mulahay, I rest, and 3 people leave my party in a huff after that.
Because
Minsk leaves because we haven't gone and saved his lady.
Dinah here.
Dorn leaves because I haven't cooperated with him. Kivon leaves because I haven't gone after that ogre.
Dang.
And so I'm thinking, well, this is a problem, right? This is Danny's big problem, is I've backed myself into a corner, and unfortunately, I cannot get out of it because all of those quests end outside of the mines, and in order to get to those quests, I have to fast travel, and when I fast travel, it advances the clock, and those people leave.
Dang.
So this is all it's this perfect storm situation. So obviously, I'm a smart player. I save. I don't just quick save. I do manual saves a lot, right?
Okay.
Generally at the beginning of areas.
Okay.
So I'm kind of I'm trying to weigh 2 options in my head. I'm trying to figure out, okay, well, how do I, A, fix this problem, in a complete way? I don't want to have to deal with this again. And B, how do I, how do I do this in a way where I'm not doing all of this content, like doing 3 people's quests and like getting Kunzelman and I out of sync, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm scrolling through my autosaves, and as I'm doing so, I'm coming to a realization. I'm coming to the realization that Balthazar is just being held back here. Balthazar is the star of the show. He's killing everything, and these jokers are just blocking his way 9 out of 10 times. So I'm scrolling through the autosaves, and I'm like, where do I go back to like fix this problem? And the problem becomes clear to me. So I load right after I leave Candlekeep, and then I play up until the end of Nashkel Mines with just Balthazar.
Oh my god. So you have abandoned the very idea of NPCs.
Yes. That is, NPCs are the problem. Balthazar does not need them. Balthazar is level 6.
Oh my god.
Because you are not, the way this system works is every monster you kill, that experience is divided evenly throughout your whole party. So if you never get a full party, you get 6 times the amount of experience you normally would.
Well, that's going to make for a very interesting rest of the game.
And this is the thing, Kunzelman. I don't know if it's possible with a barbarian. I know it's possible with certain other classes. I know it's possible with spellcasters, for example. Mm-hmm. I know that like the Wizard Slayer is a popular option in order to answer like some of the heavy spellcasting stuff. But Balthazar is committed. And this isn't just a game thing. Like me being like, oh, I want to play this. This is Balthazar not wanting to have to deal with all this shit.
This is like a man who... it's kind of like a, like a never-ending story kind of scenario where you like live, like someone in a game or in a book or a movie gets to live 2 lives. Or it's Christmas Story or whatever, right?
Sure,
Christmas Story, whatever. With Scrooge, what is that? What's that called?
No, we know what the Ghost of Christmas Past. That kind of
whatever
stuff.
that thing is. Yeah, it's that kind of thing. You get to project your whole life, and he projected a life where he had to deal with other people.
I mean, the way
their opinions seriously, and then he woke up from that dream and then lived his life as a free, independent John Galt.
I mean, I like that interpretation better than the one I was thinking of, which is like, he falls asleep after killing this nefarious cleric at the bottom of this cave, and he has a terrible nightmare about having to put up with like 5 other people, 5 other dudes, like all like complaining about their workout routines and getting in his way. Mm-hmm. And then he's like weak. He's like half as strong as he is today. And he wakes up in a cold sweat, and he realizes, oh, it's okay. I'm level 6. I'm alone. It's fine.
It's an alternate pass.
Yeah.
Oh, dang. An Owl Creek Bridge scenario.
Yeah. So I don't know. It may very well be that this decision is bad for the podcast. It may be that this decision of like, okay, foregoing a bunch of NPC content is bad, or it could be really good. It could be really good. It could be that this completely different way of experiencing this content and the different strategic problems that I'm going to face because of it will be fodder for future episodes. I don't know. I made a call. I was fucking sick and tired of that shit. Like the character was, I reloaded. Oh, it's been so much better. Are you still
resting for 16 days?
Yeah, but the thing is, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Nobody's complaining to me. I don't have Khalid and Jahir being like, oh, we need to blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I mean, in even worst case scenario, you get to a part where you cannot continue. You could always just go recruit a bunch of NPCs.
Yeah, and I think they get a little level boost depending on when you recruit them.
Yeah.
The only characters I've ever had in my party since like replaying it are Imoen. Imoen forces herself into your party even if you say no. Mm-hmm. So I immediately kicked her out, and I let Dorn in, and then I took his sword and then I kicked him out because he's got a +1 2-handed sword with a bunch of sweet abilities. So there's also that.
Like a special sword.
Yeah, it's called Rancor, and every time you kill an enemy with it, you get +1 to your Thaco.
Dang, forever?
No, and for
No,
like
that can't be
for
forever.
a 24-hour period.
That's pretty good, though.
Yeah,
That's a solo and sword.
it is.
All right, well, that was
I
a
really
raucous episode.
dropped a bomb on you there.
I know. That'll be a strong promotional option for this episode.
The big
Okay.
reveal.
Yeah. No, we got to cut a promo for it.
Oh man.
Okay, so I guess next episode we will, I guess, proceed all the way to Baldur's Gate. No, that's not what we do next, right?
I think that
There's some
look,
bandits to be taken care
there's
of.
some stuff we're gonna have to take care of between now and Baldur's Gate. I feel like Kunzman and I are gonna end up playing, and we'll know. Like, it'll just be deep in our bones. We'll know that's the stopping point. That's that episode.
But so if you're playing along, just read our minds. Or ask us on Twitter.
Or ask us on Twitter. That's a good option. Or and I don't know if you noticed, Kunzelman, I commented on one of the videos on YouTube.
I didn't see that.
I have.
So
You have pulled me from a non-internet presence to one comment on a YouTube video.
I haven't seen that. So yeah, I was gonna say if you if you want to talk about this, you can see I just burped right into my hand. That's the best way to self-promote. But yeah, you can go on Twitter in the description. You can chat with me on there. You can chat in the YouTube comments. We have a pretty good comment section, I think, for Mages and Murderdads. And apparently you can talk to Danny through there.
Yeah.
All right. So thanks so much for listening / watching this week. We need a catchphrase at the end. What's our catchphrase?
Should we open up a poll?
Yeah, tell us what our catchphrase should be, and you'll win a prize. We'll give you something.
Yeah, because we've still got basically until Trump's second term. This is how long this this video series is going to last.
Yeah. We've got those Boston Dynamics robots are going to be patrolling the streets, and we're not going to have anything else to do. So
Yeah.
we'll be on Baldur's Gate 2 then.
Yeah, that'll be around that time.
All right. So thanks for listening this week. I'm Cameron,
I'm Danny.
and this was Mages and Murderdads.
Ciao.